Excuse me. Good morning to everyone in the live stream. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Happy Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. As you come in, please share out the stream if you are able to. And also give the chat a thumbs up. Going to share out the stream now, do a little bit of housekeeping, which is me sharing out the stream to those who may be interested in joining us. And that should take just a few minutes. If you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing, especially if you would like to follow this particular journey of reading the Bible in a year mostly using the guide from Diane Stort's The Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible. And yes, this is a new thing that I'm doing, mostly for myself to stay accountable and to stay on task with my New Year's resolution of reading the Bible every day. It's easier than it seems, but it's also harder than it seems for my particular schedule that's kind of like full. I was going to say hectic. My schedule really isn't hectic, but it is a full schedule. And so I decided to incorporate reading my Bible daily into my vlogging, because this is something that I also want to do as a main source of income eventually. When I'm able to monetize my channel, this is going to be my main thing. So I do spend quite a bit of time already online. And yeah. So if I'm going to be on here, I might as well merge the two things that I enjoy and that I set myself out to do. So about one more minute, I'm going to finish sharing out the stream to make sure that I can get as many people that are interested as possible. Thank you for the one like. I haven't looked at the chat room yet, but thank you so much for the one like. One more minute and we're going to get started. And today, I need to actually edit that. That's yesterday's title. Today we're actually going to be doing chapters 16 through 21. The guide that I'm following actually is in week 2, but because New Year's started on a Wednesday and not like the start of the week, it's a little bit off, and I just want it to be nice and clean with me starting things off either on a Sunday or a Monday so that I can do it week by week that way. So we're still kind of jumping ahead and doing several chapters at a time until I'm like right on schedule with it. Let me make sure. I'm going to check the live stream on my phone, see how I sound. Again, good morning to anybody coming in. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you're able to share out the live stream. And if not, just sit back, relax, get your pen and pencil, and take notes. If you have questions, ask. I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to have any answers because I've got questions too. But it's all about learning. It's all about learning. Getting familiar with the Bible so that I know what the foundation of my faith is. I mean, I call myself a Christian, but what does that even mean? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be saying? How am I supposed to be living? You know? I want to know. I got questions. I want to know. And so I'm going to go to the source and I'm going to read. Okay, that looks good. Yes, it looks like I am. Let's see if I can turn the volume up on there. And if you can hear me, do me one favor and put a 1 in the chat room. And if I don't see anything in about the next 30 seconds, then let me double check. Then I'll know that I'm having the same issue as yesterday. You guys, I went a whole 45 minutes. Of talking yesterday without realizing my sound wasn't on. Not cool, man. Not cool. All right. I think I'm ready. Good morning. Hey, look, it's my chubby hand. That's not supposed to be there. This is supposed to be here. I was thinking about this at work last night. I said, you know what? Why don't I backup use my second backup camera so that I can actually show people what I'm reading? Because maybe not everyone has a Bible, or they want to make sure, is she real? Is she making this up as she goes along? Is she reading it? What's going on? And so that's what I got going on. Okay, good. And then let me make sure I can get to my chat here on the side. Can you hear? Well, first of all, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? If so, type 1. All right, so now that all the housekeeping is done, I need to do a quick screen share for those who may not know what's going on, other than the fact that I'm reading the Bible. This is the Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year. The author is Diane Stortz. This is what the cover looks like. It breaks down a schedule of reading the Bible by weeks. And technically we're in week 2, but I'm still reading from week 1 because New Year's started on a Wednesday. And so it was kind of the middle of the week. So I'm kind of jumping ahead and reading more than what's here. And so far we've read through chapters 1 through 15. And I'm going to finish up these last 2 sections here, 16 through 21. And then at some point we're going to be like right on schedule. So that's what's going on there. And let me get back to my chat room so that I can see. Do a little pop out. Pop out chat. Okay. Okay, yes. Got my pop out chat. So let's see where we are. Chapter 16. Nope, that's Exodus. And this is the Bible that I'm reading from. This is the New Believer's Bible. You see that clearly? I might have to do some readjusting. This is the New Believer's Bible Compact First Steps for New Christians. Looks like that. And it's a really well written translation of the Bible in plain English speak. Let's get over here to Exodus. Not Exodus, Genesis. I was in Exodus. Let's see, 16. You know what? Where did I leave off? I think I did. Wow, I'm way ahead. Lot and his daughters. Good grief, where did I leave off yesterday? Now, here's my little piece of paper. So I think that's where I left off. Yeah, I think we read through 18. And we should be starting at 19. Is that clear? Yeah, that should be clear there. That should be clear there. Let me do a quick test, you guys. I'm going to start recording so that I can see if I can hear my voice. Then I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to go over here and check it because there's usually an issue, and I don't know why, but there's usually an issue. And I want to make sure that before I start reading for 45 minutes, like I did yesterday, that I'm not going too far. Real quick. And yes, I know I should have done this before I got live, but my schedule is so tight, you have no idea. I'm trying to do all this before I have to take my daughter to school. So I jumped on the computer as soon as I got in the house. I'm going to start recording so that I can see if I can hear. I'm coming in loud and clear. Awesome. All right, without further ado, let's get started reading the Bible, shall we? Okay, so it seems like, make sure that's clear. It seems like yesterday we left off at chapter 18 when the promise was made to Sarah that she would have a child, even though she was well beyond childbearing age. And now we're going to pick up at chapter 19, Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. That evening, the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom. Lot was sitting there, and when he saw them, he stood up to meet them. Now, Lot is Abraham's nephew, remember? Then he welcomed them and bowed with his face to the ground. My lords, he said, come to my home to wash your feet and be my guest for the night. You may then get up early in the morning and be on your way again. Oh no, they replied, we'll just spend the night out here in the city square. That doesn't sound safe. But Lot insisted, so at last they went home with him. Lot prepared a feast for them, complete with fresh bread made without yeast. Flatbread? And they ate. But before they retired for the night, all of the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. Let me stop there. I'm curious about this bread. See, I've got all types of questions, great and small. Made bread without yeast, so that's unleavened bread, right? And in Jewish tradition, isn't there like a certain day of the week, like the Sabbath, that they're not supposed to use yeast, or certain times of the year or something? So I wonder what period of time was this that they made fresh bread without yeast, because they're specifying that for a reason. I don't know if it's just for context of letting us know, like, this was the time of week or the time of year when they weren't supposed to, like, maybe something was being observed. But anyways, just moving on. Just thought I'd mention that. That was interesting to me. They made fresh bread without yeast and they ate. But before they retired for the night, all of the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out to us so we can have sex with them. Good grief. So Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him. Please, my brothers, he begged, don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have two virgin daughters. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them as you wish. But please leave these men alone, for they are my guests and they are under my protection. Now, I know a lot of people have issue with these verses of the Bible, because who in their right mind would offer up their daughters, their child, who is also under their protection and in their home, to offer them up, basically, I wouldn't say trafficking, but basically as, sex slaves or sexual objects to these people. But what's going on here is, and again, this might be controversial for some people, but this is the Bible. This is straight from the Bible. So all these men, the angels that are coming, the angels that are taking up board with Lot, are male angels. And these are men from the city coming to say, we want these male angels. We like how they, we're attracted to them. We want to have sex with them. These are men wanting to have sex with other men. And here, according to the Bible, if you read into it, it's saying that don't do such a wicked thing. So it's saying here in the Bible that for you men to want to take these men who are my guests and have sexual relations with them, that's wrong. That's wicked. It's better for you to take my own daughters who haven't even been with the man yet, and at least that will be more proper. That is the understanding that I'm getting from this. Don't do such a wicked thing. I have two virgin daughters. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them as you wish. But please leave these men alone, for they are my guests and under my protection. And of course, they are the angels of the Lord, so he recognizes this as well. The crowd says, stand back, they shouted. The fellow came to town as an outsider. Yeah, this fellow came to town as an outsider. You know what? I need to read this from the Bible. I'm trying to read it from the camera, and it's difficult for me, so I'm going to be looking down. Going to be looking down instead of looking up at the camera, because I'm looking to make sure that it's clear for you guys. but I also need to make sure that I can read it myself. Okay, stand back, they shouted. This fellow came to town as an outsider and now he's acting like our judge? Here we go. And now he's acting like our judge? We'll treat you far worse than those other men. And they lunged towards Lot to break down the door. But the two angels reached out, pulled Lot into the house, and bolted the door. Then they blinded all the men, young and old, who were at the door of the house, so they gave up trying to get inside. Meanwhile, the angels questioned Lot. Do you have any other relatives here in the city? They asked. Get them out of this place, your sons in laws, daughters, or anyone else, for we are about to destroy this city completely. The outcry against this place is so great, it has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it. And this is chapters 19, 1 all the way through 12 now, or 13 now. So this is harder than I thought. I need to get a stand for this, but I'm gonna try to make it work. Gonna make it work because I want to share this with you guys. When Lot hesitated, the angels seized his hand and the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed them to safety outside. So Lot knows what's going on. He's like, oh man, it's about to go down. What do I do? This is my home. I don't want to run away. I don't want to leave. And the angels are like, come on, let's go. They seized his hands and the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed him to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. The Lord could have destroyed everything right then and there. Like, look, I told you this is wicked. I don't like what's going on here. This city has got to go. There's so much wickedness here. It needs to be stopped. It needs to be nipped in the bud. But the Lord was merciful and allowed the angels to take them out. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, run for your lives, and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountain, or you will be swept away. Oh, my Lord, Lot begged. You've been so gracious to me and saved my life, and you've shown much kindness, but I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there's a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved. I'm curious as to what type of disaster Lot thought would catch up to him there in the mountains. Is it because no water source or any resources were there? Or is it because he thought maybe he was old and he didn't think that he could make it to the mountains and that he wouldn't be able to survive? I'm not sure there. But he knows that there's this smaller city close by and he wants to go there for safety and sanctuary instead. All right, the angel said, I will grant your request. I will not destroy the little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there. This explains why that little village known as Zoar, which means little place. Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Okay, yes, this was nighttime, and now it's about to be dawn. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them along with the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Why did she look back? Was she curious? Was she that frightened? Was she, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would look back or if I would be obedient or if I would be too scared. But you know what? Think about it. In a lot of scary movies, you know, the faster that you run, looking straight ahead and going towards your goal of escape, usually the people escape, right? It's only when they turn around to see whatever their boogeyman is behind them that they fall and trip and, you know, get caught up by their own trying to turn around and look. And it's like, don't turn around. Just keep going forward. It's the same thing with races. Have you ever noticed that? Like when there are foot races, what do you call them, at the racetrack or whatnot? When people are turning around to see, is the competition getting closer? Is it getting closer? That's when you actually get slowed down. Keep going. Don't worry about what's going on behind you. Just keep going forward until you reach your goal. But I just wonder why she turned around and why that punishment was so great, that she had to be turned into a pillar of salt. Or maybe it was just the natural law. Maybe because remember, think about it, in the Terminator movie when I think the end of the world was destroyed or some type of bomb was dropped or something like that, and it was like a nuclear fallout, and everybody just kind of like instantly turned to dust or turned to char. It was scary. I was so young when I saw that. So maybe this was like something that would have naturally happened, but they were protected up to that point. Like if there's fire and brimstone falling down on the city, can you imagine the heat? Can you imagine the radiation? Can you imagine all that? And just by them being obedient and staying, keep forward, keep going where I told you to go, and only go here. By that obedience, they were protected. But by looking back, you're no longer protected. And that force field that was around you that would have burned you up, well, there you go, pillar of salt. That's just my theory on that, my understanding of it. Now we're going on to the second part, Abraham. Oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, you guys. Might have to do some manual. Holding of the camera here. All right, Abraham got up early that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked out across the plain towards Sodom and Gomorrah and watched as columns of smoke rose from the cities like smoke from a furnace. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from the disaster that engulfed the cities of the plain. God had listened to Abraham's request. Abraham got up early that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. So I don't know how far away this place was, but can you imagine looking out into the horizon and seeing columns of smoke rise like smoke from a furnace? And God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from the disaster that engulfed the cities on the plain. Okay, here's some controversy, y'all. Here's some controversy and some nastiness coming up next. Lot and his daughters. I've really got to get this. Let's see something real quick. I've got to get this more steady than what it is. Because I know if it's bothering my eyes, it's got to be bothering your eyes too. All right, let's see if we can do it like so. But I don't want to ruin my live stream. Let's see. Will that work? It's not as clear. I set the focus on this, and then it's just like not as good now that I'm doing it live. But I did set the focus on this earlier. Let's see. Afterward, Lot left Zoar. Lord have mercy. This is not going to work. I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying. I'm trying to keep things fresh and keep things helpful and whatnot. But this is just like really awkward. Try again. I might have to readjust. Please stand by for technical difficulties. I just need to get this camera where it will focus a little bit better because I'm not liking the way it looks. All right, so if I have it here in my lap, like so, and let's see if we can zoom in. I'm gonna get it together. Okay, so that's closer. Yep, that's where I want, right about there. And then if you can just allow me to focus, that would be great. Oh man, there's a very fine margin. That's what it is. Like it will focus, but only like right where, like at a certain spot. And then it's kind of like, oh, well, it's 2 mils off, 3 mils off. That's good, isn't it? I'm going to try to keep it right about there for you guys. Hopefully that'll be working out. All right, so Lot and his daughters. Yeah, this is going to be so awkward. So awkward. Welcome to the awkward live stream, everyone, where Kenya is always struggling to keep the live stream technically sound. Welcome to the awkward show. There we go. But you know what? Whenever I make a mistake and do something on a live that I don't like, I learn from it, and then the next time I try to make it better. All right, here we go. Afterward, Lot left Zoar because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave in the mountains with his daughters, his two daughters. One day, the older daughter said to her sister, "There are no men left anywhere in this entire area, so we can't get married like everyone else. And our father will soon be too old to have children. Come, let's get him drunk with wine, and then we will have sex with him. That way, we will preserve our family line through our father." Gross, nasty. So that night they got him drunk with wine, and the older daughter went in and had intercourse with the father. He was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. The next morning, the older daughter said to her younger sister, "I had sex with our father last night. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you go in and have sex with him. That way we will preserve our family line through our father." So that night they got him drunk with wine again, and the younger daughter went in and had intercourse with him. As before, he was unaware of her lying down or getting up again. That was some serious wine. I mean, that's the type of wine that Noah was drinking. If you're out like that and stuff is going on with you, especially as the viewer was saying, um, what Ham supposedly did to Noah. Like, it didn't say specifically, but he's like, "What have you done to me?" There was some uh, vulgar and perverse stuff going on with Noah and Ham, and now it's the same thing going on here with Lot and his daughters. As a result, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their own father. When the older daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Moab. He became the ancestor of the nation, now known as the Moabites. When the younger daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Ben Ami. He became the ancestors of the nation now known as the Ammonites. Jeesh. That's all I can say. Jeesh. Make sure I can see. Yes, I can see. Can you see me? I can see you. All right. Okay, good. Just checking the stream, making sure everything's good. All right. Okay. I got some extra tabs here that I need to close up so I can keep track of everything properly and get my live chat up. Okay, yeah, that's pretty nasty there. So where are we now? The Moabites in the Ben Ami, or the Ammonites. Chapter 20, Abraham deceives Abimelech. Abraham moved south to the Negev and lived for a while between Kadesh and Shur, and then he moved on to Gerar. While living there as a foreigner, Abraham introduced his wife Sarah by saying, "She's my sister." Now, didn't Noah do this before? Or was it Abraham that did this the first time? Yeah, Abraham did this the first time with the Pharaoh when he went down to Egypt. Abraham introduced his wife Sarah by saying, "She's my sister." So King Abimelech of Gerar sent for Sarah and had her brought to him at his palace. By that night, God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you have taken is already married." But Abimelech, there we go. Oh, welcome to the awkward show. But Abimelech had not slept with her yet. Abimelech had not slept with her yet, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Didn't Abraham tell me she is my sister? And she herself said, 'Yes, he's my brother.' I acted in complete innocence. My hands are clean." In the dream, God responded, "Yes, I know you're innocent. That's why I kept you from sinning against me, and why I did not let you touch her." Wow. So, adultery is sinning against God. That's what that is saying. I didn't allow you to sin against me. Man, you guys, I gotta take this off. This is not working out as cool as I thought it was gonna be. Like I want it to be a clean reading, but it's just this camera is too shaky. I need to be on a stand. So at some point, I may close this book and just continue it like I have been before. All right, in the dream, God responded, "Yes, I know. You are innocent. That's why I kept you from sinning against me and why I didn't let you touch her. Now return the woman to her husband, and he will pray for you, for he is a prophet. Then you will live. But if you don't return her to him, you can be sure that you and all your people will die." Again, does Abraham have that much favor with God that um, even though he's the one setting up basically sin, he's sinning by lying, but the sin is greater that King Abimelech would have slept with Sarah, and that would have been a greater sin against God? I'm just curious. I'm asking questions. Abimelech got up early the next morning and quickly called all his servants together. When he told them what had happened, his men were terrified. Then Abimelech called for Abraham. "What have you done to us?" he demanded. "What crime have I committed that deserves treatment like this, making me and my kingdom guilty of this great sin?" It even says it right there, this great sin. "No one should ever do what you have done. Whatever possessed you to do such a thing?" Abraham replied, "I thought this was a godless place. They will want my wife and will kill me to get her. And she really is my sister, for we both have the same father, but different mothers, and I married her. When God called me to leave my father's home and travel from place to place, I told her, 'Do me a favor, wherever we go, tell the people I am your brother.' Then Abimelech took some of his sheep and goats and cattle and male and female servants, and he presented them to Sarah. He also returned his wife Sarah to him. Then Abimelech said, 'Look over my land and choose any place where you would like to live.' And he said to Sarah, 'Look, I'm giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver.'" Oh, I'm giving your brother, quote unquote, 1,000 pieces of silver in the presence of all these witnesses. This is to compensate you for any wrong I have done to you. This will settle any claim against me, and your reputation is clear. Reputation is clear. Okay, now let me think through this. Everyone has seen Sarah go into the palace. Everyone has seen this man claim Sarah. So I think when he said it that way, "I'm giving your brother 1,000 pieces," he's already cleared it up with God. Now he's trying to save face with his people. Like, what happened? Why didn't things work out? And he didn't want to admit, like, wow, I almost slept with somebody else's wife. So using the information that Abraham gave, like, okay, this is your sister, you're her brother. Okay, hey everybody, let everybody be a witness. I'm giving him what was it? Goats and cattle and servants and as a gift so they can go about his way. There's no bad blood between us. Don't worry what happened. Everything is good. And in the presence of these witnesses, this is to compensate you for any wrong I may have done to you. This will settle any claim against me, and your reputation is cleared. So really he was talking to himself. Your reputation is cleared, when it's really his reputation that was been cleared. Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants so they could have children. For the Lord had caused all the women to be infertile because of what happened with Abraham's wife, Sarah. So, how long were they there? I mean, how it would take a while to know if you can't have kids, right? Like, if you're trying to have kids, like at least a couple weeks, right? Before it's like, we're not getting pregnant. I wonder what's going on. Or was it something instant that happened with the women's bodies where they just felt like something's not right, something's off, or like maybe their menstrual cycles just stopped all of a sudden, or something happened where they could physically feel like, I can't have kids. Or did maybe they had a dream as well, like you're not going to be able to have children and you guys are cursed. I don't know what happened, but it says that all the women folk in this area could not have children because of Sarah being there improperly under the guise of being a sister when she was really someone else's wife. Chapter 21, the birth of Isaac. The Lord kept his word and did for Sarah exactly what he had promised. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Ah, right. So this promise was made. Ah, right. This promise was made that Abraham, you're going to have a child, and your child will be with Sarah. So if, I'm sorry, I keep breaking this up. If Sarah had slept with Abimelech, that bloodline would have went through Abimelech. And what people were these? Negev, between Kadesh and Shur, and he moved on to Gerar. While living there as a foreigner, Abraham. Yeah, okay, so he was in Gerar. I don't know who the people of Gerar was, but that wasn't God's plan. God wanted Sarah and Abraham to have children, and he had a line of descendants already set up in the land and the nation that he wanted them to be in. So they already had this promise, this covenant, and here Abraham was about to mess it up. That's why this curse was going on. It's like, you're going to sin against me because you're going to break this covenant by, her child, her first child is going to be with Abimelech if you sleep with him. So, wow, interesting. The Lord kept his word and did for Sarah exactly what he had promised. So she became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age. This happened at just the time God had said it would. And Abraham, here we go, over here. And Abraham named their son Isaac. 8 days after Isaac is born, Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born, and Sarah declared, "God has brought me laughter. All who hear about this will laugh with me." Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a baby? Yet I have given Abraham a son in his old age. And remember, Sarah was pretty old at this time too, so even her old age, she must have aged very gracefully and very well to for Abraham to have this fear that everybody's going to want to take my wife away from me and kill me to get to her. She must have been a very beautiful woman, even in her old age. Hagar and Ishmael are sent away. Let's see if I can switch hands here because my hand is getting a little tired. All right. Hagar and Ishmael are sent away. I'm going to end up getting me a GoPro. Anybody want to help me get a GoPro? You can sponsor me on Patreon. Really, you can. Hagar and Ishmael are sent away. When Isaac grew up and was about to be weaned, so what's that, like around 2 years old, right? Abraham prepared a huge feast to celebrate the occasion, but Sarah saw Ishmael, the son of Abraham, and her Egyptian servant Hagar making fun of her son Isaac. Why? So she turned to Abraham and demanded, "Get rid of that slave woman and her son. He's not going to share the inheritance with my son, Isaac. I won't have it." This upset Abraham very much because Ishmael was his son. But God told Abraham, "Do not be upset over the boy and your servant. Do whatever Sarah tells you, for Isaac is the son through whom your descendants will be counted. But I will also make a nation of your descendants of Hagar's son, because he is your son too." So Abraham got up early the next morning, prepared food. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is my that is my alarm to get ready to take my daughter to school. Sorry about that. Which means I'm probably going to finish up in chapter 21. Oh, right on schedule, right? Yeah, right on schedule. So Abraham got up early the next morning, prepared food and a container of water, and strapped them on Hagar's shoulders. Then he sent her on her way. Man, that's out cold. With their son, and she wandered aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. Can you imagine how Abraham felt? His actual physical first biological son, he has to send away with the mom out in the wilderness. That must have hurt real bad. When the water was gone, she put the boy in the shade of a bush. Then she went and sat down by herself about 100 yards away. "I don't want to watch the boy die," she said as she burst into tears. But God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven. "Hagar, what's wrong? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Go to him and comfort him, for I will make a great nation from his descendants." So here's a reminder, like, you guys aren't going to die out here. You guys aren't going to die. It's tough times right now, but you will have greatness come from you. Then God opened Hagar's eyes, and she saw a well full of water. She quickly filled her water container and gave the boy a drink. Interesting. So she's out in this wilderness. She's given up hope. She's like, We've run out of water, which is the basic thing for survival. You can go so far without food, but you can only go so many days without water, especially, in a wilderness area where you're walking and using up all your energy. But there was water there. She just couldn't see it. I guess for her fear or for her, she was probably distraught. She had a comfortable life. Even though she was a servant, there's all the resources there, all the protection that she needs from the people in the household, food, supplies, water, and just the comfort of other people. Now she's out with this baby by herself. Good grief. So she was probably distraught and didn't know what was going on. But God opened Hagar's eyes, and she saw a well full of water. She quickly filled her water container and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy as he grew up in the wilderness. He became a skillful archer and settled in the wilderness of Paran. His mother arranged for him to marry a woman from the land of Egypt. Abraham's covenant with Abimelech. Now remember, Abimelech is the king that Sarah almost slept with. About this time, Abimelech came with Phicol, his that's a terrible name. About this time, Abimelech came with, I'll call him Phicol, his army commander, to visit Abraham. God is obviously with you, helping you in everything you do, Abimelech said. Swear to me in God's name that you will never deceive me, my children, or any of my descendants. I've been loyal to you, so now swear that you will be loyal to me and to this country where you're living as a foreigner. Abraham replied, Yes, I swear to it. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well that Abimelech's servants had taken by force from Abraham's servants. Now, water is a source of life. Remember, they're out here in the wilderness. There's only so much you can do without water. You got to feed your family, water your crops, feed your livestock. Water is important. This is the first I've heard of it, Abimelech answered. I have no idea who is responsible. You have never complained about this before. Abraham then gave some of his sheep, goats, and cattle to Abimelech, and they made a treaty. But Abraham also took 7 additional female lambs and set them off by themselves. Abimelech asked, Why have you set these 7 apart from the others? Abraham replied, Please accept these 7 lambs to show your agreement that I dug this well. Then he named the place Beersheba, which means well of the oath, because that was where they had sworn the oath. After making their covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech left with Phicol, the commander of his army, and they returned home to the land of the Philistines. Then Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he worshipped the Lord, the eternal God, and Abraham lived as a foreigner in Philistine country for a long time. Now let me see. The other times he just built an altar, right? And he usually built an altar near a tree or near an oak or something like that. Now he's actually planting a tree. I wonder what the significance of planting a tree means. Is it like as the seed of this tree and this tree sprouts and grows, so will my faith grow or so will my obedience grow? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But he's planting a tree. And what's the significance of a tamarisk tree? I'd have to do some research to find out what a tamarisk tree is. But that's interesting that he did that. We're gonna leave it right here, as I've got some obligations, and I'm pretty sure at this point you guys are getting dizzy from this second camera. I'm gonna find something more suitable tomorrow, but I did want to try to give you guys a bird's eye view of what I was doing with the Bible so that you could see what I was reading from. And hopefully that was helpful. If it wasn't helpful, let me know in the comments section if you have a better idea of how I can do this and incorporate it in, or if it's not helpful at all, let me know that too, and I will leave the Bible reading out. But I do want to let you guys know what I'm reading from. This is the New Believer's Bible, Compact Edition, and it is a very easy read, as you can see as you're listening to this. It is a very easy read. So if you are a new believer or someone who has never read the Bible before, it's very helpful. I believe this is the link either to this Bible or to the guide that I'm scheduling out my reading from. That was difficult. That was so difficult because the space that I'm in is so small that every little small move was making the camera shake and go out of focus. Oh, challenges, trials, and tribulations, right? but it's okay. We made it through. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for those who are in the chat now and took the time to thumbs up the live. Thanks to those who are watching the replay. And let me know what you think about this series. Let me know what you think about today's reading. I wasn't happy with it, but just I have something in mind of how it's going to work out, and it didn't work out that way at all. Let me check the yeah, we're right. We're actually right on time for the end of week 1. So tomorrow I'm going to be starting with, one second here. Let me do a screen share so y'all can see what's going on here. As you can see, I just finished up Genesis 19 through 21, which is the end of week 1. And then tomorrow I'm going to jump into week 2. It says faithfulness and deceit. That's what's going on there. Faithfulness and deceit. And let's see, if this was Monday and if this was Tuesday and tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Is tomorrow Wednesday? I don't even know what day it is. I'm telling you, working night shift gets me all confused. If tomorrow was Wednesday, I would be at chapter 28 through 30. So I'm going to see how far I can get tomorrow so that we can actually be like right lined up to where this is. So tomorrow is week 2, starting week 2 of this Read the Bible in a Year. I do thank you for your time, and I will see you tomorrow morning. I think today or tomorrow there has been a video released, or today or tomorrow. So check that out as well. And I may check in from time to time throughout the day. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you for your patience. Woo, woo, today, woo. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow me on social media.